Ahoy hoy! Welcome back to my channel. Today I decided to do a dance tag, which is basically answering questions involving dance. I think I've answered some questions related to dance through other Q&As, but it's never been directly about dance 100%. Now today I'm wearing my old jacket from the studio I used to dance for. So you see my name. I won't show you the sleeves because it's dirty a little bit, but you can see the back. And I'm amazed because I could still fit in this. I've had it, I think, since I was about 17, 18 years old. So yeah. Alright, and I'll try to show you pics and some vids from my YouTube channel. My TikTok, to show you some dances, although I have to keep the sound off so I don't get myself a copyright strike from music. So let's begin. How old were you when you started dancing? I was 6. In fact, and you can see. What do you mean North Source selected? Screen capture. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Okay. That was me when I was 6. Alright. And as I go along, I'll just show you pictures and videos. So this is me as a 6-year-old. And that's the costume. I think that was for my tap class. Yeah, that was for my tap routine. Question 2. What style of dance do you do? I mainly do jazz. And I did lyrical when I was competing as well. But I've been trained in jazz, lyrical, ballet, tap, I almost said aerobics, acrobats, and or we call it tumbling too, and even the ballroom, but I did that after I left the dance studio that I competed for, mainly because I had surgery, so I couldn't compete after that. 3. How many hours a week do you dance? Let me just go back to the original screen because this is going to be up for a while. There you go. Okay. Nowadays, it depends how I feel. I think maybe once a week at least, because I still try to stretch once a week to keep my flexibility up. So usually when I stretch, I kind of dance just a little bit. And for a while, I was trying to do a lot of dance vids on TikTok at least once a week. But, well, like I said, my right ankle is acting like a butthole now. So I could be in pain for like weeks to a month afterwards. So I'm not putting up much dance vids on YouTube, TikTok, as I was for a while. So I'd be happy if I can at least get a half hour. But back then it was different. I actually remember on some level how often I was dancing in the beginning as well as towards the end. When I started at 6 till the time I was about 9, I was probably dancing for like an hour. Now at the first 2 studios I went to, they usually had like combo class where you would take like, let's say, jazz and ballet or ballet and tap and that kind of thing. And so my first year I remember taking ballet and tap. And so one would be a half hour long and the other one would be another half hour long. And then it was like that until I was 9, because the other studio did the same thing where they had a combo class for young students. Then when I was 10, when I was 9 years old, I took a break from dance for a year. And then when I came back, I was 10, went to a different studio, which is the studio I competed for eventually. And I would usually, I think, take an hour. At first I was taking only an hour because I would take like jazz for an hour. Then I would take like, I think that was like for the first 2 years. And then when I was 12, I began to try to take more classes. Like I think it was usually jazz and acro I was trying to take. And then it took me 3 tries to try to be on the competitive team that they had at the dance school that I went to. Because it was like the first studio I went to that did have a competitive team. The other two, as far as I know, didn't have one. So when I was 12, I began to up how many classes I took. So the year before I joined the competitive troupe, I was taking 3 classes. So I was taking it for 3 hours per week since I did jazz, acro, and ballet. And I began to take ballet because my teacher that ran the competitive troupe, she's like, you really need ballet if you're going to do competitive dancing. I mean, even if we never did a number in a competition, ballet is like the root genre of dance. So it was imperative that I learned ballet and kept learning ballet when I was in competition because, yeah, you do need ballet class. At least at the studio that I was at. So, yeah. And then when I was finally competing, I was probably, getting an hour on Mondays for production. Or no, actually, it was 2 hours production, usually. Because then, other than doing our studio would do a production number, and then we would do the routines that those smaller groups would do. So we did that, and that was usually 2 hours long. Then I would have, at first, when I first joined competitive team, I did acro. So I did that for an hour, but then towards the second year, I started doing karate because they offer karate at the studio. And I'm like, oh yeah, I want to be trained. I want to be a ninja dancer. So I did that. But when I did acro, it was an hour, and the karate was an hour too. So then, but since we're not talking about karate, we're just talking about dance and stuff. So that would be 3 hours there. And then we would have a lesson on Wednesday. So that would be 4. And then we would go on to Thursday for more lessons in ballet. So I would say it was like 6 hours per week at least when I was in competitive dancing. So, yeah. I have to activate my phone again because it went off. So, yeah. And, of course, now, barely anything. I'll be happy if I get a half hour in. 4, what dance studio do you go to? I don't go to any dance studio now. I just dance for the fun of it. But back then, the last studio I danced for was CNC Dance Company, which were known originally as Cheryl's Dance Company. And then, yeah, I'll get to the other studios with the other question. 5, do you compete? If so, then how many competitions do you do a season? I don't compete now, and I haven't competed since 2000 when I was 18 years old. In fact, when I got surgery on my right knee, that kind of basically ended me being in competition. And, of course, I wouldn't go into competition now because now my ankles are acting like assholes. So, yeah. My left ankle had started having problems in 2018, and I learned eventually I split the tendon. I got surgery on that. And then my other ankle began to act up during that time, but physical therapists and others thought it was just being overstressed. But now it's not overstressed. It feels like the same damn thing that happened to the other ankle. The only difference is so far I haven't had my ankle snap, which is a lot of fun when it happens. But anyway, I did compete for 3 years. I started in 1997 and competed to 2000. So I was there very briefly for 3 years. And if you're wondering, well, why didn't you start competing when you were younger? Well, the dance studios I went to when I was younger didn't have a competitive team. Like I said, CNC Dance Company was the first studio that I went to that did have a competitive team. And then, of course, you have to audition to be on it. And I didn't see that I was really competitive dancer worthy until maybe 2 years being there. And that's when I began to audition. But it took me 3 tries to get on the competitive team. So I started when I was 12, and I finally got on it when I was 15. So, yeah. Or did I end the year when I was 15? I think I was technically 14 when I began the season, and then I was like, yeah. So, yeah. I basically started being on the competitive team when I was in my sophomore year of high school, and I finished when I was a senior. And then I couldn't go on anymore because I was in too much pain to go on. But anyway, with that part of the question answered, the other part is, from what I remember, about 6-8 competitions per season. I remember, from what I remember, and it's probably changed since I was in it, but like from what I remember, we started competitions in October, and I think we usually had like 2 in October, and then maybe 1 in November, nothing in December, January, and February. We'd have 2 in March, maybe another 2 in April, 1 in May, or it was either 2 in May and 1 in April. And then we would have nationals in July. We would have our dance recital in June. So that's how it was. So I would say about 6 to 8, if I had to guess. 6, what was the name of the dance studio where you first had your first dance class? Beverly's Dance Studio in Bowie. I was there for about 2 years, from the time I was 6, and then I finished there when I was 8, because I started the season, my second year, when I was 7. I don't know why we left exactly. I think my mom wasn't satisfied with it, but I'm not 100% sure. But either that, but shortly after I left it closed down, and so yeah, it's been a while since it shut down. Oh yay, there's a spider here on the ceiling. Lovely. So I'm gonna have a spider distracting me the whole entire damn time. Okay, and while it's not really asked, I did go to another studio between Beverly's Dance Studio and CNC, and that was Bowie Dance Center. And I was only there for a year, and I know my mom was definitely not satisfied with that. I think, from what I remember, she wasn't happy because the recitals started very late with recitals, and that's not good when you're 9 years old. Something like along that line. And then I took a break from dance because I didn't think it was for me, and I honestly did not like wearing tights. I still don't like wearing tights. So, I hope that did not show up on the camera. Okay, my screen cut out, so that's why I was like, ooh. So, number 7. What is your favorite style of dance? Probably jazz. Although I guess, in a way, poms, even though I never exactly was a pom or used a lot of pom-poms. I know one year, I think it was like the year before I was in the competitive team, we did a acro number with poms because we were supposed to be cheerleaders. So yeah, and my dance teacher at the time, who would end up being my dance teacher on the competitive troop, she said I was really good in pom. So yeah. But actually, jazz is my favorite style. I mean, I've been training in the other genres too. Is dance your favorite sport? No, it's one of my favorite hobbies, and it's one of my favorite passions, even though I consider it to be part of my entertaining passion. I wouldn't consider dance to be a sport, though, because, yeah, don't get me wrong, some dance genres, sorry if I keep looking up at the ceiling because there's a spider up there. I don't like spiders, but it's a tiny one, so I can deal with it, hopefully. What was I about to say? Yeah, I don't consider dance overall to be a sport. I consider some aspects of it to be sporty, like acrobatics or tumbling is very sporty. because it has some basic elements that you would see in gymnastics. I would consider hip hop to be sporty too, because it has some moves that you would see in cheerleading, and cheerleading is considered to be a athletic sport. What else? Zumba obviously is considered to be exercise and stuff like that. I mean, I would see dance as an exercise, but it's also a performing art considering you have ballet. Because I wouldn't call ballet a sport, but like, yeah. I mean, I guess you guys are understanding what I'm trying to say. Like, overall, it's not considered to be a sport, but there's some elements of it that are very sporty. It's definitely a workout. It definitely keeps you fit, and it's a performing art, but I would not say overall it's a sport. So that's what I want to say about that. But it is one of my favorite hobbies, and it is one of my favorite passions. So, 9. How many days a week do you dance? It's kind of similar almost to like how many hours per dance. No, how many hours per week you dance. I would be lucky if I can dance once a week now. But like I said, back then, when I was competing, I was probably dancing like 3-4 times a week. And especially if you have competition, then it's longer. But in the beginning, it was probably once a week. So, yeah. What is your favorite thing about dance? Well, I mean, what was that sound that came out of me? Jesus Christ. Oops, sorry about the blasphemy. It sounded a bit demonic, so that's why I said that. What is my favorite thing about... Okay, yeah. I guess it ties into why I became an entertainer. I like dance because I like making people happy. I know that doesn't make sense, but like, I like to be on stage and perform for people, whether it's acting or dancing. And, like when I started, I liked it because I liked the way people clapped. And in a way, I still like that. Because, I'm making people happy with my performance. So for me, I think I like dance a lot because I'm very good at it. And I like to make people happy, entertaining them with my dancing skills. The problem is that I don't like it when I'm in too much pain, but I'll get to that later. What is your least favorite dance? Hold on. What is your least favorite style of dance? Ballet, but I would add point to that too. Point is like the twin of ballet, the evil twin of ballet. And I say that only because it's harder than ballet. I never actually did point because I was never good enough to do ballet. In fact, we had a ballet instructor at my dance school, and she was actually from Russia. And, she actually told me one time, you will never be able to do point. And I'm like, I know that. I didn't care because I know I wasn't good in ballet. But you need to do ballet because it is the foundation of dance. But here's the thing. It's not that... It is a very beautiful, graceful. It does help you with other areas of dance, like balance and, technique in general. But I feel like I was too free-spirited to be into ballet. I mean, I'm a very free-spirited individual. That's why I like jazz so much. And let alone open auditions, or not auditions, but open numbers where you can basically do everything. Which is what I was usually... which is the category that I was usually put under when I did solos in competition. So, yeah. So, in other words, I'm saying they're too hard for me. So, yeah. 12. What style of dance do you find the hardest? Same answer as above. Same answer as above. Ballet and point. Yeah. 13. What is your least favorite thing about dance? Well, nowadays, it's the pain I'm in. Whenever I dance these days, my right ankle is just like, no, after I do that. And then I'm out of commission for like a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks to a month. I think my right ankle is in worse shape than my left ankle was. Because, and the funny thing is, it's not so much that dance itself caused the pain, but it aggravates it. Because I think when I talked about my left ankle on my channel before, I believe that a ski accident I had when I was 14 caused the problems initially, and then they materialized as I got older, like with my knee and stuff, even though I fixed my knee earlier on. But dance does agitate my ankles and brings me pain and makes me not feel joy towards dance anymore, which is really hard to fathom. But there we are. But yeah, I mean, other than that, you can get injured in dance. I mean, I sprained my ankle on a leap before. I've competed on a strained muscle in my leg. I fell when I was doing an aerial in a competition and landed on both knees. So yeah, I mean, dance can certainly cause you injury, but I think in my case with my ankles, they weren't caused by dance injuries. They were caused by something else that dance happens to agitate more. So yeah, and as you get older, it's hard for you to bounce back quicker. So yeah. What is your favorite dance of all time? Well, in competition, I would have to say my favorite dance of all time was probably Angels Among Us, which the company did as a production number. They did it a few years before I joined the competitive troupe, and I was a bit sad when I joined it because I know we might not do that number again, but then I was happy that, yeah, my last year in competitive dancing, we did do that number as a production number. We also did Footloose too, so that Footloose as another production number, so yeah. But more recently, I'll just show you if I can get it up in time, and it doesn't give me problems. Okay, I know where it is now. So I'll just show you guys which one it is. Oh my god! I'll show you it, of course, without any freaking music. So here I'm doing How Bad Can I Be from the Lorax on TikTok. And it's one of my favorite dances I've done outside of dance. Outside of a dance studio. I choreographed this myself. And I think most of it was improv. I had really fun doing this dance. Sorry about, again, the no sound because, you know, YouTube copyright strikes are so easy to do on here. So if you're on my TikTok and you see this, please give it a like. That'd be awesome. Yay! Get back to here. So yeah, that's my favorite. That's my favorite dance of all time. Is that? So at least outside of the studio. Let's see. 15. Now I gotta admit, some of these questions are a bit outdated for me because you know I'm like 39 years old, but I can try to answer them to the best of my ability too. So this question asks, how do you manage time with dance and homework? Well, obviously I'm in school now. I graduated from high school when I was 18 in 2000, and I graduated from college in 2004. But during that time, I mean, during at least post-graduation to my years in college, I was not in dance much other than doing an hour of Lindy Hop at the university that I worked at. So, obviously it was easy in the beginning, but when I got into competition, what I would do is I would do my homework after I got home from school because I had like 2 hours before I had to go to the dance studio anyway. So I would try to do my homework there, and then whatever I didn't finish, I would take with me. And especially on Wednesdays and Thursdays, there would be like an hour between lessons. So me and the girls in my group would work on our homework during that time, as well as eat dinner and stuff. So that's when we did homework, basically. 16? What is a good age to start dancing? Anytime. Anytime it moves you. I will admit, if you start very late and you get injured, it is kind of hard to back. What the fuck did I just say? It is hard to bounce back from injury. I mean, I'm seeing it right now. I had surgery on my left ankle in 2009, and while I'm a lot better now than it was back then, I still have some problems. And of course, my right ankle is acting more like a buckle than my left ankle is, and I'm just in pain a lot. I'm just in pain a lot. I mean, and I'll be brutally honest, it's really sucking out my passion of dance. But don't worry, I don't plan on quitting dance. I just have to adapt to a different genre that's more suitable for me. Because especially jazz dance, it's not something, while you can do it to a certain point, it gets harder as you get older, especially if you have injury. And actually, that's basically the same for anything, but you can always do it. I mean, hell. I know she's not a dancer 100%, but Ascana Chitavina is like, let's see. She's 7 years older than I am. She's going to be 46, about to do her 8th Olympics, and can still do elite gymnastics. So, and then there's another woman, I don't know what her name is, but I think she's from Germany or Austria or something. She's like 92, 91 and does gymnastics, even though it's the type of gymnastics it was during her time when she was in gymnastics. So I think you can be a dancer anytime and stuff, but I do think there's a window into being elite. But it depends what you're doing at the elite level. Obviously, the type of genre that I did in competition, I can't do much anymore. I'm getting to the point now where I'm in too much pain, even though I'm so flexible and all. But you could do other things too, like you could do ballroom, you can do country dance, you can do anything almost. I mean, hell, you can still keep doing what you're doing. I mean, and fight through the pain and fight through the agony and all this other stuff. I'm not saying you have to stop. I mean, I haven't stopped despite being in pain. I mean, even though it's sucking my passion of dance a little bit, I still keep going forward. So, 17, best advice to give to a new dancer. Have fun. Have fun with it. That's the first thing you gotta have if you do anything, is have fun with it. Obviously, if you're doing competition, there needs to be a little bit more of a professional side. But if you're not having fun with it, you're not going to enjoy it. You're not going to enjoy it if you get hurt. You're not going to enjoy it if you get yelled at. You gotta have fun with it in order to really go far with it. And, you know, if you're in a competition, or, you know, you can use other people and use them as inspirations to make yourself better. That's what I did when I was in competition. I competed against myself mostly, and I used the other girls and guys as inspirations to make my splits better, to do this or do that. Being in competition actually made me more humble towards other dancers. Because before I joined competitive dancing, I was a little bit cocky. maybe a little bit obnoxious. Because I was like, oh, I think I'm better than you doing this. And so, I mean, of course, I never said it, but my attitude was there. But when I got in competition, that died, and I began to use others to inspire me rather than compete against them, literally, even though I was competing against people sometimes. But if you do compete, be a good sport about it. Don't be a sore loser. Winning is not everything, despite what some say. Because if you start getting to the point where winning is just the only thing, you're not going to like doing it anymore. And that passion of dance is just going to die as you get older. It's another thing that will kill your passion of it. So, that's about it from that. Well, y'all, I hope you guys like this video. Smash like the button if you subscribe. Joy for me. And I'll see you guys all later. Toodles.